Hello, this is Ensconce. I'm checking out a replay that was put up on the forums. This is Amfree and the Sejong against a U-190. Big thing to note here is that there is one DD and one sub. The sub is in the middle of the map, and then the DD is over on the 8 line. Sejong wants to use smoke, wants to power farm, and usually needs somebody in front to do it with. So that's kind of unfortunate, and the Sejong is going to push up to try to be, try to provide some spotting, but also to smoke and take some shots. So multiple battleships back here, but without a front line, it's always a little tough to push forward, especially against things with superior concealment like DDs and subs, and we're going to be encountering a sub fairly soon. I'm going to speed this up so we can kind of get into the position where it starts to matter. And gonna move in here, find a position to take a few shots, and start to smoke. So we'll go ahead and do this. And unfortunately, because there is no front line, there is a sub, which is heading over into Charlie, but not really spotting anything. So unfortunately not much happening there. And because there's really not anything in the way of targets, gonna head and move forward out of the smoke. So what we're gonna do at this point is
Smoke screen set.
the Sejong is about to be engaged by the sub. Now, most players, I mean, you're looking through the gun sight. You're looking through stuff to do. So right now, he's activated torps. He's looking to get torp lines, etc. You're probably going to miss the first ping. You might see it. It might hit you. It might not hit you. You might be aware that you're being pinged. You might not be aware that you're being pinged. But he does have RPF, which is actually going to tell him where the sub is, which is here. That's the nearest thing. RPF does tell you where a sub is if it's on the surface or at periscope depth. It only stops being locked onto a sub if that's the closest target, if they go to maximum depth, in which case the RPF no longer locks to them. But again, so we see this is where the sub is going to be, and pretty soon we're going to see actually where the sub is. So as he leaves smoke, it's going to get spotted. We can see that, detected. There are actually torps here, but I believe those are from the Miyoko because of the spread on the torpedoes. He's going to move out of the way, and here we have the ping from the sub. Now, if we actually trace this back, the sub is right here. Which not only do we know that because of RPF, but we also know that because we literally saw the ping come in, and the sub is right there. Now, at this point, it looks like we're not detected. So, the sub is either outside of the 9.7, which is possible. Although, frankly, unlikely, because depending on how far outside, this might be locked on the Alsace. Most likely sub is a little closer, and pretty soon I think, yes, we are detected, which means the sub is inside of the detection range. Could be out to 9 something, could be in at 8. Worth noting, the Sejong has depth charges. She's a light cruiser. She does not have anti-sub warfare planes. She just has depth charges. And this is the beginning of the match. There's all kinds of enemies that could shoot her from all kinds of directions. So charging the sub, not gonna happen. So pretty much the same thing's going to happen here that would happen if there was a DD on this line. The DD would be moving forward, and the Sejong is going to have to back up because you're just not going to be able to YOLO this. If you do this, very likely you're going to start eating shells from all over on the map, so you're going to have to back up. But again, let's try and watch for these pings. And I'll slow it down to real time. So RPF continues to point, and we've got the sub literally there. Why is this important? Because when we see that ping coming in, you have HE, and you can just fire at that spot on the map. Where did the ping first appear? The shells are going to go in, they're going to spray out a bit, there's going to be dispersion, and it's very possible that shells landing near the sub are going to inflict damage. It's possible that they light the sub on fire, in which case the sub either burns and takes straight damage or uses a damage con. And that's very important because subs only have a limited number of damage cons. It could be as little as 2, I think it's 3 is what it is, something like that. So every time we see a ping, there's a ping, sub's right there, you could just fire a volley at it. And potentially light it on fire, get a damage con, get some kind of break. There's the sub again, we can see the ping. And about to get another ping. Because they fire about every 8 seconds. There's another ping, so we get to see the sub is right there. Every single time you're getting this information, you know where to shoot. Now right now, he's not lit. It's going to have some torps coming in. They're not going to do very much. I think they actually lose lock right around where he turns, so they've lost lock right about there. And they just coast by, so a whole bunch of nothing happened there. If this was a double ping, if this was green, they would home in much closer. But a regular ping, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And sub is right here. You can see based off the ping. And I think he's going to ping next from here. Nope, he's actually still over there. Again, we're detected. You can just take the shot. Just go ahead and take the shot. If he goes down to periscope depth, he only spots aerial detection range. So if you force him down to periscope depth by just barraging the position where he's pinging from, you force him down. And this is where he's going to get a double ping, and right now there are torps on the way, which are going to hook in. And right about now we're going to see them. See about right how far we see them. So right here. So I think if you had the reflexes of a god, he might be able to damage con and cut inside, but because it's a double ping, they're going to home pretty aggressively close. So if he starts to turn or make maneuvers, this is really just, it's not going to be enough to save him, which means that at this point, the damage con is required. Previously, he damage con to ping right away, and that's wrong. Kind of like you don't damage con a single fire, you don't damage con a ping if you don't see the torpedoes coming in. It ended up not getting him killed because he just lazily turned to the left and the torps flew by. But in this case, right here, this is where you need that damage con because you've got a ping. It's a double ping. You see the torps. This is definitely an intercept situation. You want a damage con as soon as possible, and we lost about 5 seconds really before that got noted. And at this point, it's going to be pretty tough, and I don't think there's going to be a juke. So that's going to be 4 torps that come in and take him out. So, and down goes Frazier. The Pan-Asian cruisers do not have a lot of health, which meant the 4 torps were enough to take him out. It looks like they do probably about 7,500 damage a torpedo, and 4 of them is a little over 30k. So, best thing I can say here, it does suck that you didn't have a front line, but you never know what you're going to get. And honestly, holy crap, that's a lot of cruisers. But we did see repeatedly where that sub was. And if he's going to ping you, and he's going to light you, then you take those shots. You hurt him. You deal some damage to him. You shove him under the water and give yourself more room to breathe if that's what it has to be. Unfortunately, you just don't have a front line. Your battleships are fighting over here. They might actually win the engagement, but I mean, if you can get away from the battleship guns and try to like catch this under your own engagement, this is a totally different fight. Trying to engage the sub in this area where you're really close to battleship guns, if you're actually trying to climb on top of them and depth charge them down or something, you're probably going to get dunked because you're going to have shells coming in from all over. But the sub is actually going to come over and sit in Bravo. And there does actually come to a point where these guys might drive this Alsace back. Maybe this dude's behind the island. You might actually be able to try to push in and counterplay. And when you've got forward motion against homing torps, you push the interaction point out in front of you, which pushes the homing break off the D-lock even further out in front of that. Which means it's very easy for you to just turn a little, tell the torps to go over this way and cut inside. Yep, just cut inside, get on top of the sub, or run him down, or force him to submerge and start burning depth timer, in which case he's on a time limit for how long he can be down. But anyway, I hope that was helpful, so have a good one.